Hey everyone, Corrie here coming in to do our weekly channel message. And this message is for the weekend and going into next week. So this is being recorded on the 7th, and we are going to be going into the week of where our new moon energy is also going to exist, and where we start to kind of get some reprieve from the movement of retrograde energy beginning to make some shifts and changes. So today is the 7th, and on the 7th, we do still have a lot of the we still have a lot of this. I don't even want to use the word resistant. We just have a lot of this retrograde energy that takes us to being very tied and connected into the past. And what's been really coming up for me a lot is the Akashics and a lot of this Akashics work. So if you have never heard of doing past life healing, if you've not heard of the Akashic records, those type of things, then I advise you to check it out. And so a lot of the things that sometimes when we talk about healing our past that we don't think about is that you're healing for this, the past of where the soul had been previous to your human. You've had one lifetime as this human, you'll only have one lifetime as this human, and this is it. And that is where ashes to ashes kind of ends. It's like you're done. When this life is over, you'll never be this person again. So you get this one lifetime. But the soul essence of you has a lot of aspects of past. And so for some, you may be going through the awakening process, and you may be starting to awaken to recognize or to remember the soul's original source, your connection to God, to God consciousness, to creator, whatever it is to something that is greater and greater than the soul itself, but also connected to the soul. So this need for in our lives to be experiencing purity, to start to really be focused on eating healthy, cleaning out the all the GMOs and all the toxic ingredients that are in our food, paying attention to what you're eating, paying attention to the labels on food, feeling that call, whether or not you can commit to that means that you're going to have to also do the work on the other end, which is the everyday work, the human work on your human and your habits and your behaviors and those programmed conditioning thoughts that you have that continue to be the repeat that sabotage you doing the things that you feel the urge, like you're thirsty for, you're hungry for, you're just like, it's like a soul crying out for this essence to return to this purity within. And so it's the relationship with that soul and to be deeply connected to that energy. And so this is massive. It is everywhere, even right down to what you're listening to, what you're hearing, what you're receiving, the types of relationships you're in, that desire to just say, you know what, I just can't do that anymore. I just can't have these repeat patterns and behaviors, paying attention to the flags. And this is not going to be for everyone. Everyone's not here to make those changes. Everyone's not here to be connected to their soul in this lifetime the way that others are. It's okay. It's not for everyone, and it's not for everyone this life, and it's not for everyone to even understand. Don't try to, the more you try to convince people of your why or why you're doing things, or the more I try to convince people to believe in some of these messages and the importance of it, the more resistance you're going to meet within yourself and the more angst and anxiety. And so the other part of that clearing out is clearing out old angers, karmatic debts, all the old things that have had an influence upon you now, and you just can't figure it out. And I don't know why it does. It's also a cleansing of the blood, of the body, throughout the nervous, like the nervous system, finding that sense of healing, being regulated, a more regulated way to be, and being regular. So creating stability, creating a regular balanced life, and so to be regular within the bowels. So a lot of the sacral, however you want to say it, the root energy, the sacral, that sense of that energy also into the solar plexus and the power of the will, and that of the intellect and the greater intelligence, and that of your own will. So better, but we don't always do better, right? We have that, we always have that I know better, but I don't always do better. And so that's where that's what kind of creates the stew of a storm within your emotions, is that you look back and why did I do that? Or why am I doing that? Why wouldn't I stop? I'm going to open up that bag of chips and I'm going to eat that bag of chips. Why am I about to eat that bag of chips? I know not to eat that bag of chips. I know every reason why I shouldn't eat that bag of chips. But then I put my hand in, the hand goes in the bag and I eat the chips. Why am I eating the chips? And so this is where, it's one thing to go to the healthy version of the chips, but there's the other essence of getting to the source of where what seed, what was the seed that grew the weed that caused this chaos? What is the thing? Where's that grain of sand that caused the irritation? That then we create the so-called pearl moments, but what's behind all of that? And sometimes when we're becoming that versions of ourselves, why are we becoming that? And I just had this conversation with a client this morning, and so as we were discussing this conversation, and I know she's going to be listening, she listens to the weeklies, this is something I've been channeling through a whole lot in my work, and as I'm preparing the course for the Oracle card certification for the Everyday Goddess Within, which is also just ties into everything else that I do. And it's that essence of being trying to fight through something, but where is it that there's this conflict that we just keep stepping in and out? And so we often don't want to be noticed. So we were having the conversation, and it's like this thing of not wanting to be noticed. So for myself, it was like, okay, so you don't want people to see you get big, but you also then you want to get small and you want to hide, but you also want to stand out, and then you don't want to stand out. And so the conflict is that the soul keeps pushing us into the world where we need to be, but yet our human is not ready to be there because we have so we're push pull. So there's always this push pull energy. And so getting back to how do you find how do you find that one exact right grain of sand in a whole beach of sand, right? It's such a hard thing to do. And so this is where we're moving into the week, as we move into after the weekend and we start moving into the new energy, into the new moon energy, is that in the dark sometimes we got to take out we lose our sight, we lose the ability to be able to see, but we have to allow ourselves to feel, to use another sense within us to be able to see, to be able to catch the thing that we're not able to see, because you're looking for something in particular. You're looking for something so big. You're looking for a reason. You're looking for someone to validate something. You're looking for something to be some big aha moment. You're looking for something big to happen around why you'll never eat chips again. Maybe if I have the heart attack, I'll never eat the chips again. Yeah, you will, because the grain of sand will still be there. If you don't find the grain of sand and get that grain of sand, and it all comes into the feeling. And so that sense of, that feeling comes back online, and you feel the feeling, and then you slip back or you fall away from. And so this sense of the intellect is that there's a reasoning. What is reasoning with myself? Where will this take me? And what is my soul speaking to me? And what conversation is happening within the soul for me to know that I'm looking at the ingredients, I'm seeing the why, I'm seeing how it's not good for me. And so I must really hate myself, or I must really dislike something about myself, or I must want to destroy myself if I have all the evidence, and I'm going to continue to do this. And I'm going to continue. So what do I hate about myself? Why do I hate that about myself? What do I strongly dislike? If you want a softer word, but this energy is not going to soften it up for you. This energy is like the crone energy. It is not about softening up. It's about getting honest. It's about getting to the real source, getting connected, because on one end, we're getting to the source of God. And when we're that close to the light, nothing can hide. There is nothing that can hide from the light. All secrets are exposed. Your own behaviors, your own habits, your own excuses, your own escapism, everything is exposed and everything is seen. And when you can see the whole thing, when you got the full perspective and you can see a full image, you can see that one little thing that just keeps us doing over and over that thing that we thought came from the bigger picture, but it didn't come from the bigger habit. It comes from the small little thing. And it's often triggered by one little thing. So for me this week, it was literally the lack of sunshine, and the smoke rolled in and the clouds came, and the warmth went, and it got chillier and it got colder, and my mood changed. And as I was saying in my live yesterday, I'm like a mood ring. And so, I'm affected by the environment. And that one thing that it felt dark, it felt gloomy, and I could feel sadness coming on board. Now, what is the one thing that always made me sad? Being picked on, being judged, being made fun of. And so all of those things are things that were there. But what would happen when I get sad? What happens when my life feels like it's dark, or when I feel like I'm being, abandoned, or that my needs weren't being nurtured? I hide. Why would I hide? So that I could be safe. And so as things change, all of these moods and comes online, and then what motivates me becomes the essence of the shadow. And so catching it in the moment, catching it in experience, like, why would I do all of this work? Why would I have just detoxed for weeks to put myself back into that position? I must somehow be happier in the pain than I am without it, which is a sad experience sometimes. And so mapping it, and so then mapping that energy, and so being able to track it, just like the cycles of the moon. And so being able to track it, to find it, to feel it out in the dark. I am blind to this. And so I can't see this. And so I'm blind to it in the moment. It's in those moments that it happens. But when I allow myself to feel my truth, to feel that essence of the pain, I would never hurt anyone else. So why would I hurt myself? Not intentionally. Why would I choose to do the things that you do? And so that is the part that it's our responsibility to clear out. And it's our responsibility to be aware of what we are choosing to buy, to purchase. It is not our fault that it's on the market. We didn't put it there. We didn't create this. We didn't put these toxins into the world. We didn't do that. But we're purchasing it. We're buying into it. The same with our news, the same with fear stories. We buy into it. We know it. We can judge it. We can get, maybe both are not true. Maybe both are not true. So even when you hear somebody saying, I'm going to change the world and I'm going to do things differently, I'm going to make the change. Well, if you do get in, so let's just say even political. So if you do get in, what are you going to do about what's already happening? If you can't have the courage to sometimes make some tough calls, how are you going to change it? If you can only act from being kind to everyone, there's going to be a point of where you can't be kind to everyone, where you're going to have to make the choice to do something that feels very unkind, to do the right thing, to clear the energy, to see a shift happen, to see change happen. Bring that all into you this week. Bring all of this into you and look at all this on a much deeper level. Get clear, right? Because it is an energy and a time, and moving forward, this is going to follow us all the way through until we hit, I want to say, I don't know why, but like we have what's today, 7th. So Saturday has a big energy day as well. There's a huge energy day on Saturday, but this is going to follow us all the way through until September the 23rd, 24th, 25th, like those days. I just feel like, and all the way into October. By the time October the 24th, 25th, you're going to see like full circle moments really taking place. And so you just don't clean and clear up your home. You don't empty everything out of your cupboard. You don't throw everything out and waste the food. You start to do one thing at a time. What is the one thing I can clear today? What is the one thing that I can rid myself of today? What is the one thing when I go to the store I'm not going to buy again? What is the one thing that I can start to do? Now that's talking about a bag of chips or food. What about your relationships? What about your relationship with yourself? What about your relationships with others? What about, your conversations? What about the words and language that you use to communicate to yourself? These are all things to consider in this energy. And they're all things that we are being seen. And this is where the Akashics comes up, because it's where past life comes up, because it is tied to the soul has kind of created it. If you were to see it in a mystical way, kind of way, if you were to see it in magic, is imagine if the soul decide to make a play and decide to put you in it, and it was because they wanted to act out their unmet needs or what they needed to heal themselves. And then they put you in it, and then they're watching you play out the story and what you're going to do. Are you going to be the hero? Are you going to be the villain? Are you going to be the vixen? Are you going to be the lover? What are you going to be in this story? And they're watching that play out. And so them experiencing it, the soul watching it all happen, then kind of says, oh shit, yeah, that's what I need to do for me. So imagine it that way. Visualize it that way for a moment, and just bring that into yourself. It's like the soul has these, the soul is looking to be back into its pure state. That means clean up old energy, clear up old debt, free yourself of unhealthy relationships. Anywhere you feel like it's a friendship, a relationship has been out of balance, create the balance. What needs to balance it? What needs to fix it? What needs to go? What needs to be resolved? All of those things are in this energy. And it's all to be acknowledged, or you're feeling it all. And sometimes we just keep sitting in the stewing in the feeling and wondering what's going on with us, instead of asking, how can I be the solution? How can I be the solution in my own life? How can I resolve some of these things that have such a powerful hold upon me, that are holding on to me, that are taking charge of my life? And as I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my computer screen, and I'm realizing that my Wi-Fi must be really crappy again today, because the screen is very staticky, and it's not pure, it's not crisp, it's not clear. And I have all the technology. It's just the connection, the Wi-Fi. I'm sold, you've been sold that this is the best, and this is the fastest, and this is going to work, but yet it doesn't perform that way, and it doesn't work that way. So bring that into life, right? It's the same thing. It's like, so I could not record, I could not work because that is happening, but I have to keep going. But I've settled for this, and I pay for this service. And why am I still paying for a service that doesn't work? So tell us, I'm coming after you. And so I got a service that is not of service to me. You can no longer plug directly into the box. So how do you get the most of it? And do you just sit back and just settle? And so there's areas of our lives where we're just going to just not settle anymore for half-assed living. We're not going to settle for, and it's the soul's quest for us to create, to live closer to our divine, more connected to this essence of our own purity, of our own truth, of our own alignment to what feels right to us, to be in that sense of self, to release the secrets, to let them go, to know that we can't live our lives looking over our shoulders, waiting for something else to set us back. We're not here for more setbacks. We are here to get going. We're here now to create a life that is in a forward movement. And that is kind of the desire that starts to awaken, or that's awakening, to get us moving, to get us going, and to get us in this forward action. And so these are all playing out. And I wrote down this morning, I clear and release myself from any old debts and karmas. I am a child of the divine. All that is within the divine is mine. All that is in the divine is mine. And we have to walk towards this and walk into this. And this is walking into ourselves. So it's about getting deep into, sometimes you got to travel deep to do the work that needs to be done. You don't find treasures on the surface all the time. Not every treasure is on the surface. It's not made that easy. The treasures are by making the choice to go deep, to do the deep work. It is about getting in and getting to the place of where you can extract it and then get it back to safety without crowing, without bragging, without getting too big on yourselves. All of those things, without taking it and giving it away, but just saying, I have discovered for myself what is working for me and what is in alignment to me. And the other thing that I wrote is that I will never disappoint myself again, because one of the greatest things that I discovered in all the things that I broke down and worked through was the sense of disappointment. I become accustomed to being disappointment, and I accepted being disappointed as a part of my life. And I seem to be always in a position where I think things are going to work out and then they don't work out. And it's in the disappointment. I say, oh, I guess it's not meant to work, or I guess it's not in God's plan. And it's like, no, no, I will not disappoint me. The world will have all kinds of things. People will disappoint me. People will not be able to keep up to, will not be able to keep up on their end of their deals sometimes, or their bargains, or their choices, or their promises. But I can, because if I can do it for somebody else, I can do it for me, right? And so it's like you have to be that within yourself and discover that within yourself. Where have you always been disappointing you? Don't look at the people that did you wrong, or the people that didn't meet all your needs. Look at yourself, and it's time for that ownership and responsibility. If you're a grown-ass adult, it is on you now. Where are you failing yourself? Where are you disappointing yourself? Where are you sabotaging yourself? Where are you sacrificing the best of you? Where are you truly not being the hero of your own story? Where are you constantly allowing yourself to do this, to sabotage or to take yourself away from your happiest and your wholest life? And so for many, the happiest and wholest, they may not even discover in this lifetime, but they're going to have the experience of living, which is exactly what they came for. For others, it feels like a completion. That last quarter mile of the 360 is the hardest. And the last quarter of mile is where you have to really dig in deep and get brutally honest and do what needs to be done. And we're in a last quarter mile. We're in that space and time of where we're just saying, okay, we have to do this because this is the beginning of something new. And we are in that beginning phase, but we still have the ending that we still haven't completed. What hasn't ended? What do you still keep doing that you shouldn't be doing, that you shouldn't be doing, that takes you away from your happiness? What are the things that keeps you held back? What are the things that are a repeat pattern, habit, all of those things? Because just because somebody else may not, but you think somebody else is not seeing them, they are seeing them. You know how they're seeing them? In your attitude, how you show up in your own life, the excuses you make, the little white lies you tell, the, waiting the crumbs off our mouth, like, and the stories you have to tell yourself, and the guilt and the shame that you put on yourself becomes the anger and frustration that does get taken out on somebody else. And you may be so accustomed to doing it, you don't even realize you're doing it. And you or another should never be a doormat or emotional punching bag to anyone, and especially to yourself or to anyone that you love or to a total stranger. It just should not be happening. And so when we have this on a world scale, and it's like they're trying to hide wipe the crumbs off their mouth, and they're trying to hide the things that they know they're guilty of, the things they know they're doing that are wrong and they know are wrong, and they're doing it anyway. And they're just doing it to us regardless, because they're willing to sacrifice us for them. And they're willing to sacrifice us for them to have that money in their pocket, send us to poverty, all of those things. So that's why the energy, and why I have the energy, because I feel the big energy, but then I had to chunk it down. And I got to bring that into us. And so the energy that I'm telling you that's about us, I actually picked up from watching and the world, and how the world is behaving, how the world's energy is behaving, how the universal energy is, and how things just kind of get there. And so then when God puts the brakes on, whatever God means to you, it's just a word for, like, if you're reacting to it and you're getting mad and you're not going to follow me anymore because I use a word, you need to really seriously look at that on a deeper level. What's deeper than me saying the word God? See it, for me, that's my relationship to it. You never asked me what my relationship is. So if you're assuming, you're making up a story, you're creating one. I don't know exactly what God is. I know my experiences, and I know that, and I hear the voice that speaks to me, that tells me it's God, and it communicates to me, and it gives me a lot of beautiful wisdom. And it's also saved me from my own self more times than I could count. And so there is something more powerful than me, and this being able to bring this divine within ourselves and awaken that. So perspectives, right? And it's for us to be able to gain that perspective, for us to be able to explore it, look at it, and to be open in our hearts and our mind, and just say, it's when does it become back into ourselves, so that we're not at war with ourselves, we're not making ourselves our enemies, and we're clearing up, we're healing, clearing, and resolving the things that need to be resolved, so that we can transcend our own stories and transcend our own addictive behaviors and habits and those type of things, that have been playing out for so long, those secrets that have held you back from living your best life, that looking over your shoulder, that past that still has a hold on you, letting that be resolved, cleared. This is a big, big energy. It's a big, big time. And it's time for big change and radical truths, and to really, truly get honest and to look in deep within ourselves. So that's what we have, and that's what's coming up. I was going to pull an Everyday Goddess card, and she just never made it out. So let's see what she's got for us today. See what the Everyday Goddess has for us to share as we are moving forward. Forever yearning. What are we forever yearning for? And forever yearning is Luna. And beautiful Luna is, she's waiting for the right moon, waiting for the right moment, waiting for the light to come on. It's never not there. The full moon is never not there. It is always there. It's just in position where you can only see pieces, quarters, half, but the full moon still exists. So your truth, your light, your authentic self, everything has always been there. It has never not been there. The possibility of living in our beautiful world, our beautiful life, it is there. Everything is there. And it's right here in our now. We just have to start to see things differently and clear up the energy that keeps us from being able to see it and to live it, and stop yearning for something to show up or to be there or to change our lives, when we have everything that we need to be the change that we need to see within ourselves. That's our message. I hope this resonates or helps you in some way. I know there's a lot. You may have to go back and listen a couple times to little bits and pieces. I can hear it just chattering, and I could talk about this forever. I am trying to keep them in that 30-minute range or just below, so that people got time to actually listen. You can always download these as well as a spot. If you like these videos, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. You'll know when I'm posting these videos. You can also leave comments and likes in the sections below. And also there is a space for being able to leave a donation through PayPal. And you can also see my Everyday Goddess Oracle cards and my 2 books, which are actually behind me, The More Than Existing and My Truth of Existing Beyond Reflection, all available on my website. If you go to CorrieThorne.com, you can check it all out. The website will be staying under Corrie Thorne. And you'll just see some shifts and changes in my name, because I did recently make some changes in life and got married. So you will see some name changes in areas where that the name will be a little appearing differently. So, but the website will always be CorrieThorne.com. Go check it out and get yours own deck of the Everyday Goddess Oracle cards coming up September the 14th. I am starting a level 1 of the Lightworkers healing, the Lightworker certification, plus the empowerment, healing, transformation. Level 1 is an all about you course. It's truly about first becoming your light for you, becoming your own lighthouse, and then being able to shift into the next levels and moving forward from there. So it starts September the 14th. You can get yourself signed up and become a part of the More Than Existing tribe. Much love. Have a beautiful day, and I will chat with you all soon. Bye-bye.